I've been looking forward to this video for a long time. Baseball in Japan and Korea is just different. One of the major differences is there's a higher respect for the game in general and a higher respect for their gear. Here in the US, we're a little more focused on just having a comfortable glove. They're more focused on it being lightweight and performance driven. But today we're gonna be looking at just one version of this Asian style break-in. What I will say is I already know that I like it. How much though? Am I gonna start breaking in gloves for myself this way? I don't really know right now, but that's the whole point of the video. We're gonna have two gloves in this video. This is the gravity free. It's a special order on the pinky. It's 11.75. We have the iWeb with that hinge at the top, black, orange, and blonde with gold logos, and even like sparkles in some of the stitching. I might have forgotten to mention that this is kip leather. This is gonna be costing you around $310 to $350 US. And then here's our second glove. This is an NP pattern, Rawlings Pro Preferred. Talk about expensive. This one's even more expensive. This is like $400. The gravity free is like our perfected version of this Asian style break-in, and I think we can mimic it with this Rawlings. So I encourage you guys to check out gravity free if you want to. It's definitely a cool company, but this is much more accessible. It's easier and more trustworthy because we know Rawlings. So a lot of you out there are more likely to get this than the gravity free. The whole point of this video is to shape this glove exactly like this one. With that being said, let's look at how I shaped this glove, how I broke it in, and why. Let's take a look at these gloves side by side. So some similarities, yes, but this is gonna take a lot of work to make it look like that. Okay, so with this Japanese style, it's shallow and wide. You can see like I can still obviously just like catch a ball, but it's much more like I'm just holding it and grabbing it rather than it sinking back into the web. One of the major reasons I've really liked this is the ball control is just crazy. You always know where it's at because of the way that we close the glove here. If it's a one-handed play, you can squeeze around the whole ball. But when I'm expecting a throw is when I'm gonna be closing up like this, because then the ball is just showing the whole time. My point is when it's an ordinary play and you're able to watch the ball the whole time, you can catch it like this and there's really no risk of dropping it. But when you need to, if it's a hard play, you're reaching out, lunging, yeah, just swallow the ball. The lighting's horrible in here, but what I'm trying to show you is with a glove like this, you're gonna have way more like palm creases and palm bubbles just because of the way we're breaking it in. It's almost impossible to avoid. It's one of the downsides of this, but like I said, I'm really liking the way it feels when I'm actually fielding. Just to be clear, the way that I put my hand in the glove is also a little bit different. To start, I shove my hand in as much as I can, just as deep as it can go. My other thing is that I'm pushing in with my index finger, and this is gonna create that palm bubble, but it's also creating this super shallow glove. I'm actually really enjoying focusing less on making the glove look good and more on just making it perform well. Everybody's heard it said, it fits like a glove, duh. But I'm serious, like this is much more like you have actual movement with your hand. It's just different. With all this being said, we need to break in the Pro Preferred. All right, I'm quickly noticing a major difference. Let's check out the thumb here. It's actually really thin. You can really tell on this pinky, look how thin all of that is. The thumb is pretty similar. That makes it easy for me to move the thumb around and close it however I want. That is not at all the case with this Pro Preferred. Our Rawlings has a huge thumb. It's super comfortable, it's really padded, but that makes it harder to have that mobility. One more thing to note, if we can successfully make this into this, the Rawlings is gonna be like a more durable version of the gravity free. I usually am like anti doing anything like this to a glove, so this feels a little odd. I'm gonna say it again, this break-in style, you focus a ton on catching the ball in your palm, not up in the web, in the palm. After putting more and more work into this, it just feels like it's not working. It's like there's some line that we just haven't crossed yet. The gravity feel feels so personal. I can move it however I want, but it still has like a shape to it. This, on the other hand, is getting looser and softer, but it has no shape still. Then I had the sudden realization that I did the hot water treatment on this and I haven't done it on this, so I think that's a good idea. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna give you more tips on how to actually mash this thing, where to hit it, what's important, because this is what I would call like an expert level glove break-in. It's really easy to mess this up, but when it's done right, I'm a very big fan. I know you can't really tell, but this is wet. We got water all over this thing. Now let's start hitting it. So like I said, our problem is that the glove is not forming. The entire palm feels like it's loose. So what I'm gonna do now is focus on giving this glove like joints, thumb side and pinky. I'm gonna try to leave the palm a little bit. That way it can actually stiffen up compared to our thumb and pinky side. By the way, infielders, this is your pocket down here. Hit that as much as you want. Also, over here, another pocket. Hit it as much as you want. What we're gonna be leaving is this palm section here in the middle. I want that to just kind of be untouched for now. Gonna focus a ton on this thumb because it's just so thick. So I'm gonna kind of push in like this, mash away. And then watch this. I'm gonna curl the thumb up like this just to create different angles for this thumb to close. We want this glove to be very versatile. And then we're gonna do the exact opposite and push this thumb way over, way past the pinky and mash away. You guys, I mentioned this before, but the gravity free is like super shallow. So one thing I did do actually was hit the back of the glove like this. Not a ton, but enough to create this like pancake shape. I'm gonna do that a little bit. Don't focus a ton on that, but do it enough to where you kind of have this result. I just really want to flatten these fingers out like as much as possible. Now we want to work on this pinky side. Kind of just close it like this. Do you see how it runs up like this? Like this is where that crease is. Yes, you want to hit here, but you can also run up and down the fingers a little bit as you're hitting it. You want that whole pinky side to be able to close easily. Like I said, we're worried less about this glove looking perfect and more about it feeling perfect, operating perfect. We want it to actually be a useful tool on the field. All right, you guys, I'm gonna repeat myself. This index finger is pushing down, okay? It is gonna make this come up in the palm a little bit. That's where we're really receiving the ball, just to be clear, and it's gonna create this much more shallow, like pancake-like effect. In the US, we typically wanna close our gloves like as deep as we can. You see like thumb to ring finger here. But this glove here is gonna be closing up towards the index finger, okay? I mentioned before about not hitting the palm right now. I will be pounding it down. When we close the glove, we want that palm to stay in. So pounding it down is gonna help it do that. The thing we don't want is for the palm to kind of come up too much and create bubbles or creases like this. Honestly, things are looking really good. I want you to keep in mind, this is 11.75, this is 11.5. I don't know if you guys can tell, this one's still a little bit more shallow and wide. Like this one feels way more natural. Also, my hand fits into this way more comfortably. It feels like a literal glove, whereas the Rawlings has wiggle room, and that's typical because Rawlings. I was trying to say Rawlings. Rawlings always has large finger stalls, so that's a huge takeaway. Like this feels way more comfortable because it's snug to my hand like everywhere. And then with that, pay attention to our palm here. Do you see how my palm just does not move? Our Rawlings doesn't really have the same thing a little bit. It's a way smaller section. It's more just like this one crease right here that doesn't move. It's not the worst thing in the world, but so far this gravity free feels better. The simplest thing made this glove go from meh to not meh. I like it a lot. All I had to do was tighten up the wrist. For whatever reason, the glove being slightly more snug on my hand, it feels 10 times better. These are actually looking pretty dang similar in the shape. Let me show a major difference. The thumb is way shorter on this gravity free compared to the Pro Preferred. Plus, just talking about the glove in whole, this leather is way thinner than this. Often, thick leather is a good thing. It's just more durable. But in this case, with this break-in, the thinner leather gives you way more feel and just like mobility with the fingers. I just feel so comfortable with this. I'm a huge fan. Guys, as I'm doing this, there's just so much control over the glove itself because it is snug to my hand and everything, and I can just move it. Like, look at the way I can move the fingers. It's like I can rotate them. That's like not normal. Let me show you here with our Pro Preferred. I can kind of do something similar, but like our thumb has way less motion. I had too many bobbles right there. Let's try this again. Shove that hand in deep, push that finger down. I'll be honest, I am pleasantly surprised. Like this worked better than I was expecting it to. Okay, I'd easily favor the gravity free with this break-in, but that leads us to the question, does the Rawlings NP pattern work for a Japanese style break-in? Let's be clear, there are multiple different kinds of Japanese style break-ins. This is seriously just one kind, and I'm calling it the Japanese Pancake, but I absolutely think that if this fits your style and you're interested,
it's worth it. If you guys are interested in the brand, just check them out on Instagram. I'll put it like down here. That's probably the easiest way to get in touch. Let me recap by highlighting a few things that matter the most when breaking an NP pattern, Japanese pancake style. Start by just mashing the thing in general, get it so that you can easily play catch. Then ideally, you wanna move on to the hot water treatment to really form this thing. One of the biggest objectives is loosening up this thumb. You want the thumb to be able to move left, right, up, and down. As you can see, I need to do more work on mine still. You're not just mashing it in one spot, you're mashing it in every possible direction. Next, you have to be flattening out this glove. You're never curling the fingers, you want them flat and open. Another key feature is pushing down with our index finger. This keeps the glove shallow and wide, but it also makes it feel more natural when you're fielding ground balls. Don't forget to keep that palm back into your palm. You can slap it like this using a ball, hitting it, but get used to catching the ball right here. I actually made a whole video on Japanese style catcher's mitts, so I'll see you there.